they're buying, right? When the opportunity presents itself, that's when you want to take advantage. And the same thing with Bitcoin right now. And something else that's positive. Welcome back to CryptoRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So, happy Saturday. But unfortunately, Bitcoin has not recovered yet. But I do believe I found a real reason why Bitcoin fell in the first place. Before the conference, things were doing really well. Bitcoin and crypto rallying up, and then things came down because of the conference. Now, I did speculate about a whale or whales that want to bring Bitcoin down, and I believe I found our good old friend F2Pool and how they may have been the ones to kickstart things. So let's discuss what's going on with F2Pool and whether or not we need to be worried. So smash the like, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all of my streams. Also, make sure you follow me on social media and check out all the latest news, article, and guides at CryptoRUs.com. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning. Like I said, happy Saturday. You know, Bitcoin is kind of stuck in a rut right now around 42.5. Obviously, not the worst level, but, you know, we were getting a little used to high 40s, about to break into 50s once again, and then things started coming down. Why, right? There's this phenomenon that every time there's like a Bitcoin conference, Bitcoin goes down. But what whale could be behind it, right? So I've decided to look, and I've found this article with some useful data. Now, in case, I know a lot of you guys follow me in 2021, early 2021. Some of you guys are new, so you may not be aware. But one of the reasons why my channel started going up and it started exploding in early 2021 was because I started looking at on-chain data. On-chain data shows a lot. And back then, it didn't seem like a lot of people cared about on-chain data. All they cared about was TA and fundamentals. But how do you prove fundamentals sometimes, right? You got to look at the data and the metrics. But I started to look, and you know what? That's why I started creating a lot of videos about this one mining pool called F2Pool out of China. And at the time, they were one of the largest Bitcoin mining pools out there. And yes, there was a lot of stuff happening early to mid 2021, where F2Pool was clearly seen to be dumping a ton of Bitcoin. So here's a video from about a year ago, February, showing that, yeah, look at that massive inflow of Bitcoin into exchange from F2Pool. And then, yes, Bitcoin's price started going down because obviously that was deposited into exchange for the purpose of selling off. Now, in hindsight, afterwards, it turned out probably they did that because they had a feeling that the China crackdown was going to happen, right? However, it's been very hard to pinpoint what F2Pool is now doing because after this whole controversy and after I kept making video about F2Pool, you could see how many videos, right? F2Pool got a lot of heat. And guess what? They went to CryptoQuant and told them, hey, let's kind of hide this. And CryptoQuant complied. It's very hard to see what F2Pool is doing now. After this whole controversy, they kind of removed that data, and you just don't know what's going on. And it was a big thing in 2021. But now, like, no one seems to remember. However, I got to say that there is a guy on Bitcoinist. I saw this article. There's a guy that started looking at it again. So he did look at using CryptoQuant, look at all the miner outflows. He did find this, but somehow he was able to pinpoint just F2Pool, which is surprisingly very hard to do. But he looked at it and he's like, well, you look at this massive inflow, right, or outflow for the miner, and then you look at massive outflow just from F2Pool, and they're 1 and 1. So it's not like any other pools or miners are selling It's just one guy. It's just F2Pool, right? So this is probably what kickstarted. So I started looking at F2, crypto quant myself, and this goes to show you how much dumping was actually happening before in 2021. You can see in the beginning of 2021 when I start looking at on-chain metrics, start looking at stuff like this. You can clearly see when Bitcoin was coming up to $64 for the first time, there was a ton of Bitcoins flowing in, right? And at certain times like this, when you had a huge amount of Bitcoin, being deposited into exchanges and sold off, it caused a big, massive dump, right? But at the point, Bitcoin was on a roll, retail FOMO was coming in, and even though there were many big drops like this, and you could see clearly because there was a massive inflow of Bitcoin being sold off, right? Overall, Bitcoin kind of ate it. The market ate it until it didn't, right? But you could see at this point in time right now, if you zoom in a little bit, you could see, yeah, it started happening again, right? So unfortunately, I think that's what kickstarted it. When you have a good amount of Bitcoins being deposited into the exchanges, in this case from one mining pool. Now, to be fair, it's a mining pool, so it could be a whale, a number of whales, a group of whales, right? It may not be F2Pool themselves, but it is from the pool. But yeah, when you have a large amount of Bitcoin being sold, in this case, you could see this one candle bar was about 8,700, right? And then you add all these up, that's over, 10,000 Bitcoins being sold. Yeah, that's going to bring things down. And of course, when you have things go down and then you have all the leverage traders get, liquidated, you see all these green candlesticks, all longs, a lot of liquidations, you add the two together, well, that brings us to where we are now, right? Obviously, it brought Bitcoin down. It brought Bitcoin down to where it is now, about 42.5, a little bit below these previous resistances / support. Unfortunately, now they have become resistance again, so we have to start the journey over. Yes, it sounds bleak. It sounds dire. It sounds like, okay, Bitcoin's done. We got a massive amount of dumping. Here's the reality. Back then, right? Back then when things were being dumped, Bitcoin had huge amount of volatility, way more than what we're seeing now, right? So despite everything that's happened, Bitcoin is still holding strong at 42.5, still above 40,000. Yes, we have come down a little bit from our 48,000, 49,000 peak, right? But we are still holding a level much higher than even 2 weeks ago, or even 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago. Okay, so putting things into perspective, yes, we are down from our local high, but we're still way up compared to basically all February and all of March, right? And we're only in the second week of April. So bottom line is Bitcoin is strong. The market is strong. There's just way too many holders, way too many institutions, way too many companies and countries that are looking to adopt Bitcoin. So whatever F2Pool did, it doesn't matter. Short term, yes. Long term, does not matter at all. And that is why there are still so many that continue to buy and DCA because they just don't care. This is meaningless. For example, like this guy. I don't know who this guy is, but buy nearly $1 million worth of Bitcoin each and every day. I don't know who this is, but literally every single day adding about $1 million worth of Bitcoin. That's a lot. That's a lot. And they continue to buy more and more and more and more because there are just, I'm telling you, big whales that at this point, they're all secretly buying and they're just hoarding and they're setting themselves up to be the future billionaires of tomorrow. Okay? There's just a lot of buying. And this guy pinpointed about Bitfinex whales and how, yeah, a lot of them set their buying at around 42.4. Where are we now, right? So there's a lot of speculation that, yeah, the whales, or at least some, they knew this was coming, but they're buying, right? When the opportunity presents itself, that's when you want to take advantage. And the same thing with Bitcoin right now. And something else that's positive is this Sunday. Tomorrow, 60 Minutes will feature El Salvador, right? And their Bitcoin beach. Interesting. Will this bring more attention to Bitcoin? Quite possibly. In a good way? Quite possibly, right? Unfortunately, El Salvador President Bukele was not able to attend Miami 2022. It would have been nice to see him and see him talk, but I don't know what else he would have announced. But there was rumors about other countries embracing Bitcoin. I know Mexico, there's one senator, I think. I don't know if a senator is the proper word, but there was someone within Mexico that wanted to propose using Bitcoin as legal tender. Who knows who else is going to follow? A lot of countries really, really anxious to get started with Bitcoin, right? So the future is bright, what I'm trying to say. The future is very bright. Now, what else is there? There's just a few other things. I did see this. We know that the Ronin Bridge was exploited recently. So Sky Mavis, the project behind Axie Infinity and Ronin Bridge, they raised $150 million in financing round led by Binance. And the only reason for this is because they promised they will refund all the users. This is one of the ways they're going to do so. So they're making good, you know. So unfortunately, this was one of the largest hacks ever in history, over 600 million plus, right? But they're trying to do what they can to make good on their word. So that's good. That's pretty much it. I mean, there's some more FUD today too. Like, I saw this, Bank of America is starting to talk about recession. They're not the first bank. Now they're the second bank. A lot of banks now starting to say, hey, get ready for recession. So I don't know. You know, when a bank like this comes out and they're like, yeah, I prepare for recession, and trying to cause FUD and trying to cause people to get out of the market, you got to think, are they really doing it for the goodness of their heart? They're really trying to warn people? Or is it they're trying to get people out so they can buy assets at a discount, right? It makes you wonder. Bank of America is a for-profit bank, right? So do they really want people out because they want to really protect people, or do they really want people out so they can start buying even more? Makes you wonder, right? So yeah, I just thought that was suspicious. And there's many, there's talking about a housing crash like 2008. And there's many people that think that can't happen. That 2008 and 2021 is very different. And there's no way there could be a housing crash because demand is so high and supply is so low, right? But here's the thing. The 30-year mortgage rate has gone up to above 5%. And we were at below 3%. We were at 2.75, 2.65, right? And within a matter of a few weeks, we have doubled to 5%. And this is only after one rate hike from the Fed, right? If Chair Powell decides to rate another 50 basis points next month, 50 basis points afterwards, imagine mortgage rates going from 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 to 10% maybe by end of the year. Do you think demand is still going to be high when people are paying 10% on their 30-year mortgage rate, right? So again, it's one of those situations like you got to use some common sense, right? Some common knowledge. These guys are telling you, I don't know, there's no housing crash. Don't worry about it, right? Is it because they're trying to sell off their houses right now and that's why they're saying it? That's the thing. You got to put everything. You got to think for yourself sometimes. You got to use some common sense and knowledge and put two and two together. So I have been on record saying I do think housing markets will come down. I don't know if it's going to crash like 2008, right? 2008 for housing was absolutely horrible. But right now, you have houses that have doubled and tripled in value in the last 2 years. People was buying like crazy because basically you're getting a free 30-year mortgage. That's not going to be the case going forward, right? So just be careful. Anyways, other news that has nothing to do with crypto. I don't know. I just saw this. Red Lobster CEO resigns after 8 months, and people called her tenure very, very, very bad. You know, I enjoy seafood, but I haven't gone to Red Lobster in a while, so I don't know how bad it could be, but hopefully they don't go under. And for those of you guys that are football fans, Dwayne Haskins, he died, unfortunately. First round draft pick died due to a car accident. He got struck by a car Saturday morning. That's a tragedy. So I've never heard of him. I'm not a big football guy, but if he's a promising, QB, that just got drafted, this is very sad. I mean, it doesn't matter that he's a QB. It doesn't matter he's in football. Anyone that gets struck by a car and dies is sad, but yeah, unfortunately, this just broke out. All right, that's pretty much it. As for crypto itself, besides F2Pool and Bitcoin going down today, is a pretty red day. Pretty red day. Most things are still down. However, not down and out, right? I mentioned about all February and March, prices were lower. So I remember I was saying Cardano being below $1 was a bargain because Cardano dropped to like 80 cents, right? Still holding above $1. Solana, even though it's down from its 130 at 110, I said Solana below 100 was a bargain, and it did drop below to like 80s, right? Not too long ago. I've never said XRP below $1 is a bargain, but it is. Terra came down from their 120 recently, but still holding above 94. I know they got a little weaker recently. And Avalanche, these guys have gotten a little bit cheaper, but the good thing, the bright side, I guess, is you get the DCA, like I did yesterday with you guys, and you get to buy the dip. You get to buy things at a discount. It's the best way to look at it. All right, let's do some Q&A. Hello from Sweden. Welcome. Husan, love the show, bro. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hit the likes if you like lobster. Who doesn't like lobster? Let's see. I remember their biscuits were really good. I have not been to Red Lobster in a long, long, long time, though. Will BTC hit 100K this year? I think so. The adoption is just too great at this point, right? Despite we have come down recently, I know. Those of us in crypto, we tend to live minute by minute. So it seems like, oh, it's so bad. It's so bad Bitcoin can come down. But we're still higher than where we were weeks ago, right? Global market cap, unfortunately, a little bit below 2 trillion, but we are right there, right? For longest time, we were much below. So this is a small setback. We will pick ourselves up. We will continue. Once Bitcoin breaks through this this next resistance, which is really 44.5, and it was looking promising at one point. We were going to use it as a support. But if we break through it and really use it as support, 50K is right around the corner. That's not that far off. And once we break 50K, guess what's not far off? 60K, right? So I do think we have a really good shot. We are still early. We barely just started Q2, right? And we'll see. We'll see what happens. If the war comes to an end, that could be a huge catalyst for the markets to go up. right? I haven't covered a lot about the war recently. I mean, there's still developments, ceasefire talks, stuff like that. But hey, if Putin stops the invasion, right, that's gonna be a huge thing. That's gonna be a huge thing, right? Um, and I guess we'll see. A lot of markets, a lot of companies are still doing very well, right? Despite the fact that rates are going up and maybe housing may be coming down, but a lot of the companies out there, especially tech, who has been very, 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 very sold off. I mean, they're very oversold. They could come back in a big way, right? So if tech goes up, cryptos go be carried with it too. So there's a lot of things that could drive the markets up in a big way later this year. So, yes. Jack says LTC and XRP are revolutionary assets. Okay. Come to Maine. I'll take you out to catch your own lobster. That would be fun. Actually, Chris, that'd be a real fun thing to do. I would love to do that. You could save Red Lobster. You could save anything. I don't even know what's wrong with Red Lobster. What's so bad about it? It's really hard to find seafood, especially when you're not living by the coast. I mean, if you're living in, West Coast or East Coast, I guess, you're by a bay or pier or wharf or whatever, and you get a lot of seafood. But if you're not, then it's kind of hard. Would you join Mafia? No, I'm going to stay away. I appreciate that offer. Red Lobster, the next GameStop. That would be wild if it becomes a meme stock and it pumps up. Jordan Peterson says logic and facts. If he's polarizing, it's because people have too many feelings. I agree. I love Jordan Peterson. I know some people hate him for some reason. I don't know why, but that guy's very, very logical, speaks only facts, offends a lot of people because they get their feelings hurt. But ultimately, he's trying to stop what happened to Will Smith. I mean, honestly, that's what he's trying to do, right? He concentrates on men being men, not losing their masculinity, and how that's gonna be better in the relationship, right? That's most of what he preaches. Of course, he does other stuff, but all these debates I watch him on, all these feminists attacking him, man, he just destroys them in all these debates. I love watching Jordan Peterson. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see him talk at Bitcoin 2022 because I had to leave. So, yeah. My guess is the war is far from over. You know what? I don't think so. I mean, not that I'm a military expert or anything, but you got to look at the financial destruction that's happening to Russia, right? Maybe not to Putin himself, but to Russian citizens, to the military, to the oligarchs and the companies. And I mean, they're getting financially destructed. So at some point, that's going to outweigh the need for Putin to try to invade Ukraine. And Ukraine is holding really well. They're holding up. Their military is. They're getting more support. And, it's becoming a thing where everyone, even Russia's allies, are starting to tell Putin to calm down. So I just see it ending sooner than later. I don't think it's going to drag on for years. I think we're going to see an end to that this year. Again, just me. I'm not a military expert. Maybe Putin will just do whatever it takes to take over. I don't know. But I tend to think that he's going to outweigh, the financial destruction is going to outweigh the need to take over Ukraine. DeFi Kingdoms. DeFi Kingdom is good. Jordan Peterson's horrible Bitcoin speech in Miami. Yeah, I don't know if he's a Bitcoin expert, so I didn't watch it. I'll watch it and see. Astroport, third TVL in Terra's ecosystem. You know, I've heard of them, but never used them or anything. Let's see. The future of trading. Well, I mean, they're a DEX for sure, but I don't know how they're different from anyone else. I don't see anything in there. Pool. Yeah. Oh, I think this is the one. Yeah. Why this one is cool is because you could actually bond. You could provide liquidity for a bonded Luna and Luna. Right? So this, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss because bonded Luna is basically the same as Luna. So I guess if you are trying to do compounding of Luna, you could do it with Astroport. So how you get bonded Luna is by staking Luna, right? You could stake Luna, get bonded Luna, and borrow against it, right? So whatever you borrow, you know, you can do whatever you want with that. But I guess you can also stake it in this with Luna. I mean, I guess it's just more pairs. It's just more interesting ways to stake. I'll just put it that way. But as for a utility, great. But if you're asking about the project, I mean, I don't know. There's no reason to be holding Astro, right? You can trade a bond. I mean, you could trade or stake bonded Luna, and you never have to touch Astroport, or at least their Astro token. So, is MicroStrategy a decent play for tax-deferred exposure to Bitcoin? What do you mean by that? How you defer your tax because of MicroStrategy? I don't get that. Elaborate. Simple Green. Hey George, where does BTC go with that NRC conversion to fiat during transaction? NRC holding BTC. I don't understand what Mahler say. What would be where does Bitcoin go? So Strike themselves, they would buy and sell Bitcoin. That's how it would work, right? So if you're paying in Bitcoin, goes on a Strike network, network, goes through a Lightning network, and if the vendor doesn't want BTC, then Strike will probably sell BTC and give them cash. And in terms of who they sell it to or where they're buying it from, I don't know. I think they're probably working with Coinbase or someone to do that. I think that's what you're asking. The rewards are in Astro. Oh. Yeah, that makes sense. But the problem is, as soon as you get your Astro, most people will probably sell it, right? That's the thing. Yeah, someone is asking about the tax deference. I mean, you're talking about when you're deferring tax, you're just deferring it for the future, right? So you're basically, you could do like you could trade with your 401k, your IRA, right? You could use iTrust Capital to do that. You could trade and not worry about it until you want to take the money out, right? That's what I think about when I think about deference. But if you're buying MicroStrategy, I don't know how that defers anything. But yeah, in terms of taxes, by the way, I know a lot of you guys probably don't want to think about taxes. You're doing it last minute, or you're going to extend it and do it in May or whatever. But if you guys are trying to be legit and trying to calculate all your taxes, you got to use a software like my partner CoinTracking. It will get all your transactions from all of your all the exchanges, all the wallets, everything, and make it really simple for you to do your taxes. So when it comes to crypto, taxes is unavoidable, especially if you're making large amount of gains. If you plan on never cashing out, then maybe you could get away with it, but you know, it's just one of those things. You just get it done and do it legitly, in my opinion. I just feel like too many people are just trying to always avoid taxes, but yeah, I would say it's better to be on the safe side than not. Let's see. Yeah, F2Pool. I have to look at more with F2Pool because, like I said at the beginning, CryptoQuant has made it very hard to track F2Pool individually. So I have to see what this other author, what they did to filter it out. I'm gonna track them more because F2Pool in 2021 dumped a ton, billions upon billions of dollars of worth of Bitcoin, right? So if they're gonna start doing it again, we gotta know that, right? I'm gonna start tracking that more. Townsley, you missed my super chat. Luna, goodbye. Yeah, Townsley, I appreciate super chat, but you know the answer to that. You know how much I talk about Terra, how they've changed the game with Bitcoin. You don't need to ask me. And if you got some already last night, why do you need to ask me today if it's a good buy? Yes, it's a good buy. It's always a good buy. Doesn't matter if it's above its all-time high. In terms of Terra, it's a good buy because it's still very low compared to where it'll be in the future. Can I join the Rust Army and shoot Redditors? That is not something I do. I don't know what you're talking about. Crypto taxes increased my refund? Yeah, congratulations. I mean, if you are down, it's kind of too late to do deductions or anything with crypto. But like last year, if you were down, right? Yeah, that's a pretty big deduction for this year. Why everyone talking about my shirt? It's a nice shirt. I don't know where I got it from though. Looking at exposure for BTC for 401k plan. Well, if you're asking about that way, whether or not you should buy MicroStrategy, I would say no, because if you want exposure to Bitcoin, you buy Bitcoin. So move your 401k to iTrust Capital, talk to them first, and then use that to buy Bitcoin directly. Because MicroStrategy, if you look at their stock, even though it kind of somewhat tracks Bitcoin, Bitcoin's performance has been better. So I think holding Bitcoin is better than holding MicroStrategy. I don't know too much about Maple Token, Anthony. Can't talk about it. Why is it too late to do the deductions? Well, I mean, tax, I was talking about tax loss harvesting. You would have to do that last year. You can't do it now. If you do it now, it's for next year's, right? So that's what I mean. Like if you're trying to do tax loss harvesting where you're selling off and buying back, that's unfortunately too late. You had to do that before December 31st. Any thoughts on new Ford Maverick? Hey, wait until next week. I'm going to get a Maverick next week to review. I've already seen it, haven't driven it. It's a small little truck, but it's a hybrid truck. So I'll be getting one to review next week. And then I'll let you know. All right, guys. That's it. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Stay strong, my friends. F2Pool may be back to their old shenanigans, but I'll make sure to keep track of it. But in the meantime, you know what? Take advantage of the gains. Not gains, opportunities. Take advantage of the future gains that you have. But overall, we will come back from this and we'll get stronger. No worries about that. All right. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.